Hello, everybody, and welcome to this month's episode of Tales from Del Nazra from Ash and Earth. Oh my gosh,
There
I
you
forgot
go.
it for a second. To start us off, we're going to go ahead and just do some announcements. I know Kate is not here, but Kate joins us every other session of the month. They have a Redbubble KR Theater. Go check it out. They have stuff. So go support them, or else. Uh, Anybody else have any announcements?
I mentioned we were gonna be taking July off to do Daggerheart special stuff, but I forgot that people are gone during July. So who knows when.
Daggerheart pending. All right. And outside of that, please join us every other Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. CST. That's what I'm going to use because it's my time for our main campaign.
No, that's when we record it.
Or recorded. I'm sorry. So it comes out on Thursdays. You're right. My bad. Join us in spirit. How about that?
Yeah,
All right. Outside of that, no more anything else. We'll just jump back into it. We'll keep this kind of short and brief.
I might be able to
But
talk
we
more this time.
maybe we will be rejoining our group as they have been. They handled a rather fungal issue within the uh, honey town, if you will, the Rosewood town of Goldmere. They were able to subdue and remove the fungal growth and uncovered a bit of a rather odd emerald gemstone that seems to thrum with life. That seemed to be part of the epicenter where this spore mutation seemed to have started. They corralled the members of the village and brought them in for some questioning while trying to suppress the town's ire against the pretty much the magistrate. While the good doctor decided to provide medical treatment and uh, observations to pretty much the whole town, whoever was willing, which was pretty much everybody. After uh, pretty much squelching the more hostile potential takeover, the group decided to return back to the Conclave, the Verdant Walkers, with a member of the village in tow. One of the ones, um, the I said grave robber. That's not right. The gravekeeper, who was one of the ones most heavily infected by this fungal growth. As they left with horse and carriage, they made their way across the wastelands, and as they were uh, getting their bearings once again, a rather acrid acid rainstorm descended upon them. But suffused into this storm were a number of uh, lightning methods, these balls of lightning energy that descended from the heavens and attacked with various types of lightning blast and shocks, bringing some people to the brink of death. But the group managing to remove them and successfully getting the cart and themselves into the safety of a cave that they were looking to hide within. And that's where we're going to pick back up as the rain is still falling heavily outside. The smell sour and that tinge of the acrid tinge is kind of burning on your nostrils as you are within this partially natural, but partially you could tell it's been dug out or clawed out by some large beast. It comfortably, to an extent, fits the horse and the carriage, as well as each of you. Uh, there's not a lot of wiggle room, but there is plenty of room to find reprieve.
All right, fingers, toes, sensitive bits. Everyone got them all.
Yes.
I've heard about being struck by lightning, but that was ridiculous.
Yes. What would What do we call those?
Has he ever like heard of those before? Or could he
You
take
can
that?
roll. I'll let you roll a nature or an arcana, one of the two.
I'll roll nature.
Oh, zappy little bastards.
Yes.
7.
7. Um, you've heard of, I would say, I mean, it's not uncommon. There are creatures of like elemental creatures, but you've heard of like base root elementals. So the bases, so water, earth, and fire, if you will. You've never heard of a creature like that, or at least
Some
never experienced one.
elementals, I suppose. But everyone's fine. We've got. Yes. He looks around.
I wouldn't call myself fine. The acid rain melted a hole through my arm.
Does it hurt?
No.
Hmm.
And just puts a finger right through the hole and wiggles it out on the other side.
Are your little lads and lasses inside of you okay?
Yes.
But roll me a percentile dice.
1 second, 1 second, I'm clicking buttons.
How about your patient, doctor?
Oh yeah, let's see. Still back here. Let's find out.
82.
Here, 82. Okay. The patient in the back has a full cloak over their head, and is kind of wide-eyed, looking. It is a covered wagon, so part of the covering, there are bits of like holes within it from where some of the acid impacted and burned away. And he seems relatively okay, a little distraught, a little out of it.
Oh wait, was he conscious last time? I thought he was like
He's
like,
kind of in that fugue state, almost
Oh, okay.
like listing between like
Oh, okay.
being fully there and not. So he's aware of his surroundings. It's just a level of like there's not all the lights aren't on at home. If you
Okay.
will.
Yeah, just quick look over, but seems fine. Well, as fine as usual.
This is the Undertaker, right?
Yeah. Good.
Cool.
Yes, the pro wrestler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's his
This is
motorcycle?
Sid's from the the cloak.
From the top rope. Look out! Look out!
Uh,
With the I would say with the rain, that smell kind of becoming more muted, or you becoming more accustomed to it. There's a thick muskiness to the cave, that of long forgotten decay, like almost like you would be. It reminds you a bit of being in the crypt, but with a mix of like wet fur
Ooh.
and potential feces, if you will, like droppings. As you can tell, other creatures that have roamed the waste have utilized this space before, though it seems like it's been some time.
is it
Yeah.
any deeper, or is it just a concave cave?
It's for dimension size, you're looking probably about a like 20 by 15, so 20 long, 15 wide. So it
Mhm.
creates like almost like a oblong oval,
Okay.
but it is large.
Well, anyone want something to eat, something to drink?
He pulls out like his few snacks and flagon, some wineskin.
I mean, sure, I'll take some. Spare blood if anyone's got some too. I'm kidding. I'm
I
kidding.
don't have blood.
I don't do that happily.
Uh, all right. So, all right. So, um,
Also, why do I have 5 temporary hit points again? It's been a month.
I have
Yeah.
8.
Uh,
I know
Not sure.
someone
Is it
has
your
like
Twilight?
a temp
Your-
HP thing.
is it something
No,
with
I
your
didn't.
Twilight?
I didn't end up using that. I don't think.
I mean,
Good
I
question. I'm
have
not sure.
I have
have
some
8 or
treats,
anything
but
like
I
that
don't
cast
think
on
they
you?
do. I don't think
Oh.
they heal that much.
Yep, I use Twilight Sanctuary, which gives people 1d6 plus 3 temporary hit points. That explains it.
Yeah.
It was, yeah. Especially, I think you were using that more like a
So Bud
getting
didn't
out of the
die
rain
from
situation.
the acid, and for myself, yeah.
yeah.
Because if
Oh, I almost fucking
because
died. Oh, that's a
if
fucking
my
problem.
armor class drops to 10, I die because my armor's destroyed. That's my character.
That is you, yeah.
It's already
Gelatinous cubes.
it's
or
already down by
slimes, or-
1 because the acid rain. So
All right, so we'll have a bit of a rest.
You
okay,
take a swig.
sits in the corner and doesn't move.
I forget. You eat anything?
I can.
Does it help?
It doesn't really taste like anything.
But does it help?
I'm not sure.
All right.
And tosses you. What was the last thing we cooked? I'm gonna say an errant mushroom that has been roasted.
Y'all can acquire a short rest if you would like, or if you can take a long rest, if that is the vibe that you're going for. But it's up to y'all. If y'all
Eats
want to
the
stay here
mushroom
for the
because he can't like really articulate. It's just like
Like puts it in his mouth and then the bugs just go.
bugs. Just
yeah, the bugs dissolve it for him.
it's fun.
No, he can like talk and chew, but yeah, he just like, and then you can kind of hear it like the chewed up remains kind of plop down inside of him somewhere.
Then the bugs feast.
Yeah, I feel like when he eats, it's more of him sustaining the bugs than himself.
So last I remember, it was nighttime when we fought that in the graveyard.
Mhm.
And
Y'all spent the night.
Yeah, we
you
spent the
spent
night.
the
Cooking all
night
the stuff.
and then headed out first thing in the morning and then got this thunderstorm. So a long rest doesn't seem, at least from
Well, that time has passed. Yeah.
my memory,
Give me one moment. Yeah, y'all have only traveled realistically 12 miles.
Yeah, so
Right.
short rest then.
So you have a little bit of travel for this day.
I would
Sweet.
take a short rest because I'm at 9 hit points.
Yes.
So I'll just be sitting in the corner, staring blankly, not looking at anything.
and
My
I've used
eyes-
all my key.
The eyes kind of glowing in the dark as the fireflies move around in the eye sockets. I don't think I get any spells back as on a short rest as a cleric.
No,
You would
no.
have to
I
you
just get my
effectively
channel
use
divinity
your
stuff,
yeah.
Yeah.
You have to use that.
which is fine. I got no spell slots, but that's fine. I don't need spell slots.
No,
Not at
no,
all.
I do not.
I got a massive scythe that I kill people with.
Um,
I'm using
After-
all my dice.
after about an hour of eating lightly and just relaxing, the rainstorm persists. You wait for about another hour, Gesundheit, before eventually the rain starts to let up. So about 2 hours later, effectively cutting the remainder amount of your travel time to about 2 more hours before you have to actually find rest
Okay.
for a full day. So, gathering up the horse and cart once again, saddling up, redirecting, you make your way out of the cave.
Yeah, I'll get back into the back of the cart
Okay.
with the with our friend, the gravekeeper.
All right. Oleander taking the helm once again to guide the cart and direct it as such.
Gallus,
Yes.
what's the weather looking like today?
Looks up into the sky.
It's a darkened gray sky. It's how you usually would expect Corinthus to look.
It looks
there
the
are
same as
moments-
usual.
Any more thunderstorms?
I don't know.
Roll a nature perception, whichever one, or survival.
Both. Better at perception. Nature is a +0. Perception is a +6.
Okay.
An 11.
An 11. From what you can tell, nope. Looking around, it doesn't seem as though there will be any forbearing storms up ahead.
Looks like there
What
might be a
element,
25% chance, but it is slim.
Right, so we should be quick.
I don't know if that would help.
Can
Stop
everyone
the rain
keep
from
up?
coming.
Everyone on the wagon.
I am in the wagon.
Yes.
Just referring to everyone else.
I know.
All right, let's go.
Gathering up the group, once again, setting off, traversing over the slight hilly, craggy area that you're kind of having to breach through to get back to the Verdant Wood. I would like, Bud, what did you roll again? 82?
Yep.
Okay. After about 2 hours of travel, night begins to fully set once again. What you catch sight of and what y'all see from the north of where that storm was rolling in, you see there's like a distinct orangey hue. For a moment, you imagine it's the sun, but the coloration is very vibrant, more so than usual. It has like a deep, rich orange that fades into like a bright yellow into almost like a dazzling white. It seems to be coming from the Stone Dark Mountains. Which go ahead and roll me. Anybody can roll me a history, nature, something of that kind of check if you would like.
I have a +0 to both.
+6 to both.
0 doesn't make sense for history because he's never left where
Right.
he's from. So, nature. 18.
22 on history.
Very nice.
I went to college.
20 on nature.
Nice.
What is college?
Yeah, no.
The reason I'm so damn in debt.
Oh, what is
Real.
death?
Those of you who rolled above a 15 on any of the
Yes.
checks, you would know the Stone Dark Mountains are not volcanic in any way. So that coloration would usually indicate some kind of volcanic potential activity coming from them. And even more so, it's even with a potential volcano, volcanic mountain, they wouldn't be as this lighting seems a little too centralized, too focalized. It reminds you a bit of almost like a bullseye lantern. So like it creates this kind of cone effect to it, if you will, like almost like something shining out from the mountains up into the sky, like a beacon. But as you kind of settle and find a place of rest for the night, keeping an eye on it because it is hard to miss in this night sky. After about maybe another hour or two of getting into your rest, that light begins to fade until it darkens completely.
Anyone know what that was?
Not a clue.
Was fucking weird. There was beauty on the eyes, but it was fucking weird. Lex, when it like went out, was it like when you have a lamp and you just kind of put something in front of it, you can see it like go, or was it more like you're turning a dimmer switch on a light?
More like if you were turning a dimmer slip, like it was slowly starting to
Okay.
like come in, and then it cuts off. Almost, it reminded it. If you didn't know any better, it would remind you of like a sunset, because it's that slow, gradual over time. It was fading out before completely gone,
Thank you.
and that was
And,
over
like,
the course of about 2 or 3 hours.
And as bright as the sun too, right?
Pretty much, yeah. It lit up a large portion of that northern sky, the skyline. And that's why it was so easy to see and hard to miss, because it was so predominant in that sky and coming, and you could just tell. And it was, I would say this, even with y'all's rolls, the way the light was, it looked like it was coming, like there was mountains in front of it, so it was creating that like shadow foreground effect to the mountains. So it looked like either something within them or like amongst them was bright, if you will.
Based on the rate of dimming, could it have been something just like reflecting the sunset, like from just a weirder angle?
Interesting question.
Like a
I would say no,
giant
less-
ass mirror or something?
Yeah, I would say less of that. It definitely felt more like. What'd you roll on your check? Was it Arcana?
History.
History. Okay. Make me an Arcana check.
Okay.
Do I know what it is as the creator of the setting?
No, you don't.
Oh,
You do not. This is new.
23 on Arcana.
23 on Arcana.
I went to college!
You
Okay,
just
so
yell every
the-
time
the-
you succeed on something.
It's specifically a knowledge-based skill. I won't roll it when I succeed on a survival check or investigation, but religion, nature, medicine, history, arcana, yes.
So with that, you take time to mill it over. So I don't think do you need a full rest? I don't know your full system.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would say
sleep.
over the course of you getting yourself ready to rest, and then even on your like watch, so your couple hours of watch that you take, this will be time that you're milling it over, and you're coming up with like you're busying yourself on a, an intellectual discovery or anomaly in this moment. I would say at the end of your rest, or the end of that like 2 hour grace period, effectively, it kind of hits you, and from the DM's mouth to you, it reminded you of effectively a bullseye lantern. So it's that slow close, but it reminded you more like something, like a lens cover that kind of turns slowly and does this and creates a pinhole and then closes fully. Does that make sense?
Like aperture.
An aperture. Thank you.
Okay.
So
So
it
the
had that-
source of the light didn't get dimmer, it just became gradually more obstructed.
Yes.
Okay. And it seemed so. And okay, bullseye lantern aperture feels very mechanical and precise.
This was, I would say, less precise as that.
Okay, so it could have been some like it's so it's just this sense of like something moving in front of.
Yeah, but the effect that
a
it was
source-
having was very much aperture effect. It was
Okay,
not like
so-
it wasn't like an eclipse. It was like a
Okay,
Closing.
outward in.
yes.
Okay. But you said not like fully like mechanically precise.
Right.
Okay.
It was I would say with your brain and your education, every so often you would look over and just observe and watch it, and at some points it would be there was no distinct pacing to it. It wasn't like it was a gradual close, but it wasn't like at one point it was okay, you can measure the light effectively. It seemed like pretty uneven to some degree,
Okay.
or it was fully
So it could have been like a so it was an uneven kind of motion. So something comes like maybe like a collapse of something rather than like an intentional mechanical closing.
Yeah, probably from your whatever you can theorize right now is probably your best bet because you don't really know what was happening fully. But yeah, I would say whatever theory you want to come up with in your mind that would kind of fit that narrative, go with it.
Okay.
So yeah, I would say even to this account, you didn't see the pinprick moment. You know, like whenever an aperture would close, there's always going to be that like slimmer, like little bit of a beam. You didn't have that effect. Like you didn't see the beam, so it was like that would kind of create the illusion of, or the thought of, the pacing wasn't precise. At one point, it was getting small enough, and you're like, okay, here comes the high beam, effectively, and then it was just closed.
Okay.
Oh, I can't wait till we go to our next tavern and hear what stories they made up about that.
Light.
Right.
Big light.
For a bit of expedience sake, the y'all stop me otherwise. The remainder of this travel will go relatively uneventful.
Oh,
You will see.
did we get a long rest?
You definitely
Oh,
get a long
okay.
rest. Yeah. So you do get a long rest from that. But the remainder of travel heading into the Varenwood or to the Varenwood would be, when I say relatively uneventful, there's not any major issues outside of the natural wastelands intrusions, if you will. You don't have another rain cloud or acid rainstorm descend upon you. You do not have lightning methods that descend from the clouds once again. You do catch off to the northwest, so you'd be traveling. You're traveling more easternly.
Towards the
But
Polewood?
yes, thank you. Toward up in that direction, you do see there is like a storm, like a darkened area. Before you see the clouds, kind of. At first, you think it to be lightning, but the way that the edges of the clouds seem to almost ignite, like flash fire. Before you watch from the sky, there's like a cylinder effect that happens, like the wind catches, and you see like a tailwind, almost like a corkscrew effect of the wind catching and rising and colliding together. And then where you were seeing those flash fires, you see those like sparks within the these tornadoes. And now these tornadoes, mind you, are large. They're large enough to be seen from the distance that you are.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if y'all have experienced massive tornadoes like this before, but it is. But you would know these to be the fire tornadoes. Typically, what happens is they carve through and they're picking up. A lot of what's happening is the soot and the granite and the different minerals in the sky are colliding at such an intense speed that they spark. And then some of the soot and ash and things like that of the earth are flammable, and it creates these. It's not like cyclones of fire. It is more like, if you get caught in some, you have the risk of being burned, but also like it's almost like getting lashes of like a flame whip toward you if you were to be caught within these. People do survive these to some degree. A lot of these, and also mind you, a lot of these areas, the wooded areas, are unaffected by these sporadic creations.
We can safely say there are no sheep farmers in that area.
So yeah, like a lot of these places too, the ones that are not within the woods, the ones that are built without
Shepherds? What? I got it wrong.
yeah, sheep farm, yeah, whatever.
There were
A lot of these
no, you just said
places-
it the long way.
Yeah.
you're right.
Sheep herd.
Yeah.
writing a book about it and you need to fill up some pages.
Yeah.
A lot of these places are built of like stone and earth, and the vibe I want you to get whenever you think about some of these places is Tatooine. It's like built into the ground with like a covering, so everything is like a bunker to some degree, if you will. That's the best way to kind of describe it.
So the
because of
sheep have
these-
blue milk.
Sure.
Only one way to find out.
Yeah. A lot of but again, just mind you, a lot of these places rely on the export and import and the commerce, trafficked from different parts. Like, these are not high dense population places. You are in a relatively low dense population continent. A lot of those are focalized and centralized around the wooded areas. Those are going to have your higher density of people, and they, to the grace of the magic that does linger within Del Nazra, there are means of protection, but you would know that the wooded areas are more so warded and protected, mostly centered around the Verdant Walkers.
Would Gallus have a lot of like knowledge about how protected the woods are compared to like the wastelands in terms of just things? Because his water skin is made from the trees where that can automatically purifies the water. So would he have any knowledge of like
Sure.
that kind of thing?
Yeah. When it comes to, that's a good point. You would be strongly advised not to drink any water found within the waste. It is considered poisonous.
Which is something Gallus, people probably know pretty well at this point. Yeah.
The Ostrowood have woods, effectively trees that and bark that can be utilized in the purification of said water. These trees have been utilized in a way that has both enacted as an export, a low degree export, to allow for this type of travel, and to allow people to be able to travel. Now, when it comes to the wards and things like that have set up by the Verdant Walkers, those are directly bound to, they call them the Ancients, but these are creatures. They are pretty much treants, that you've witnessed and you've seen. You would have been introduced to some of them within the Varen Wood. These are treants that are massive in size, that act as like standing. If you were to think like fence post, it's like the larger fence post that like all of them are stemming off of. They effectively create a net-like system around these woods, so they are more so they are intermittent throughout the outer edges of these wooded areas, that create effectively a biome, like a bubble, that pretty much the acid rain can still fall, but once it hits this biome effect, it turns to regular rain.
Yeah, so the acid rain doesn't affect any of the woodlands.
Yeah.
The all of the woodlands?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because you mentioned Osterwood, and that's like a southwest wood. Like that's specifically a southwest.
It's
forest, right?
So yeah, to give you a better picture or your better understanding of the Verdant Walkers' true intentions, each of the areas that have woods, if you're looking on the map, each of the places that are wooded have a central hub, if you will, a standing point that the Verdant Walkers have established within these woods, and have, by some means, awakened these ancients within these woods to act as the holders or the bearers of these wards. You don't know what tree it is. They're not meant to be known by everybody.
Right.
But because you do reside within the Varen Wood and you do operate directly through the main HQ of some degree, you would need to know the Varan Wood agents, more so for your safety, because they do prevent, if needed, they can act as true guards and protectors. But yeah, it's all throughout, especially within those within the main continent. The islands tend to be of their own volition, like they don't need to be monitored and maintained to that degree. The Osherwood, I brought that one up more so because that is where Gallus is from, and the Osherwoods was one of the first indications of life.
And yeah, those trees the bark of those trees filters out the toxins of the water everywhere.
Yep.
So they make water skins out of those trees. And Gallus's skin is the same color and make of the trees of the Osterwood.
So an interesting point onto that. So that effectively that body of water that runs to the north, like along the Osherwood, it's an odd occurrence because as the water touches that wooded edge, that water becomes purified. But it's like that. If you ever seen those videos of like freshwater and saltwater kind of mixing, there is a distinct divide. So as it grows more along these watered areas, it's going to purify more of that. But because it's flanked by both the toxic side and the purifying side, it has that weird effect to it.
So, I guess on the map, we've got the ocean colored like light blue water, and then we've got the kind of darker blue water. Is that just a signifier of fresh and salt water, or is that like, the pure and like not pure, or
I would say that's more like freshwater,
okay,
to some degree, or even large bodies of water. So
okay.
I would say the lake and the loch and things like that are going to be more your inland water vibes, if you will, that aren't directly connected to the ocean to that degree. While those much larger channels are going to be, I would say they're just for this, they're just indicating those like much larger channels, if you will.
Cool.
But like the Varan Wood loch is only purified simply because of the Verdant Walkers establishment within that. So it's to some degree, yes, but like the Maiden's Cry River, that river that goes from the Verdant Loch and it is not purified water. So you wouldn't drink that anywhere outside of the Varan Wood.
I didn't mean to derail it with water. I figured it would
just
be
no.
for
That's
the water knowledge to be known that most of the water
good
here
for
is not safe for consumption.
Not safe for consumption.
Water knowledge.
And a lot of it is like a lot of these within the Verdant Walkers. It is your group is one of is a rarity. Like the going out and going to places that are not nestled and tucked and safe within these barriers and these wards. There have been a few groups that have gone missing through these ventures simply because of the natural effect of the world of Thornthurst. But yeah, as y'all continue to proceed forward, spending the next, I would say, about day and a half of travel, because you do 24 hours a day. About day and a half of travel, that's whenever you begin to actually see the edge, and you come upon the edge of the Varan Wood. The Varan Wood is a rather welcoming sight of vibrant hues of greens and yellows that blend together almost in a seamless, soft, shifting tapestry. You continue to follow the same footpath that you took on your journey to Goldmire. It brings forth a comfort knowing that the canopy will offer reprieve to the rather unpredictable nature of the wastelands. As you continue to draw closer to the Varan Wood, the edges of the woods, you are greeted by a trio of soft whistles as one of the trees shifts and moves. a rather impatient guard, as if a rather impatient guard waiting for a signal. You know this to be one of the sentinels, the ancients. As it shifts, recognizing to some degree, recognizing your group, you watch as you now get to see, and you've seen them before, but you get to see those druidic carvings that etch along the skin. That it's almost like part of the bark moves and shifts and opens up in various degrees as it's allowing itself to move and not look like a tree anymore. And it's almost like you're looking under the skin, like if you were to peel away some of the skin, like as if on the muscle those runes are carved, but as the bark closes and clamps over, you don't see them anymore. And it pretty much stands guard of where this footpath that you would take in and out is. It shows a sign of almost. Roll a nature check or an insight check on this thing.
Yeah.
As it begins to move.
Insight
21.
21.
Okay.
Plus 6.
Hey!
21.
I didn't go to college
Jesus.
for that.
All right, 320. Very nice. Y'all all catch there's a level of anticipation. As I said, it reminds you of almost like a guard waiting to be given the go ahead to attack. The way this tree moves and shifts, it almost is ready for someone to make a wrong move, to say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing.
Try
as
me,
it-
bitch.
Right. As it gets down and that footpath that you had taken, it now reveals that path into the barren wood as it kind of sidesteps a bit and lowers itself down. Kind of goes a bit inert in this moment.
Oh, trees.
Continue forward.
Oh, yeah.
No, let's fuck with it.
Let's go back. Let's go back to
Hey.
the wasteland.
Right.
Back to the.
You
ashes.
continue into the barren wood. There's a sense of comfort that comes, a knowledge of the path that you were taking. Along this, it is not well kept, but it is well traveled. And what I mean by that is that there is bits of undergrowth and things like that have made their way onto the path. But the idea is that these paths aren't supposed to be perfect. They are meant to maybe look more like animalistic footpaths that animals would naturally take. But it is large enough to accommodate your cart and your horse. The passage, go ahead, Oleander, go ahead and roll me a vehicle handling check.
Vehicles. That is a 21. 21 is kind of our.
Yeah,
you
it
know,
sells
our
that
number
sells thing
this
tonight.
evening, huh?
Yeah, the passage is semi-comfortable with that 21, allowing. It's not perfect by any means, but the horse and cart do not get stuck. There is no injury to the horse, and there is no damage to the cart outside of some cosmetic catching on branches and things like that. Some of the canvas of the cover gets ripped and torn a bit, but nothing major. But yeah, you easily avoid any potential major mishaps that might have happened.
They gotta manage this trail.
I like it better this way. Wild. Untamed.
Maybe get a druid out here, rewire some of the branches.
The
I
way
don't know.
God intended.
You'll be
Pluck-
spending
Plucks like a
night
ladybug off the side of the cart. And just
tucked it in.
into the body.
Your new home. All right, you'll be spending one more evening within the Varen. You'll be spending an evening within the Varen Wood.
I cast inflict wounds on the horse for meat, just in case.
Gross. That is no good. You brought the meat. Okay. During this time, there is a comforting ease to the woods, so to speak, just from the sake of not having to worry about the natural disasters that could be looming just beyond. Um, who is in possession of the gemstone?
Let's look through my inventory.
Well, if I recall, it's either Gallus or the doctor.
I just have the mycelial growths. I think the doctor has it.
If not that, then it's probably Kate. I don't know. Let me check. Let me check if I have it.
Who the hell's Kate?
Oh, never mind. My bad.
I know for fuck sure it wasn't Bud.
Yeah.
I don't think I have it.
Oh, that means we don't have it then.
Oh, we left it. We left it behind.
Left it behind.
Dropped it.
I know somebody
uh,
has it.
I'll
So
say
in
I
this
have it
moment,
then.
I think the last person that had it on their person that I actually remember was Gallus. No,
Oh.
the doctor was studying it,
Oh, you're right. I thought he took
but
it.
I think
so
that
that's
I think
why I
Gallus
add
did
to
have
the
it on his
stuff.
person last.
Okay,
All
I
right.
have it.
All right. As you are preparing for a long night's rest,
Just a weird gemstone.
you didn't notice it at first, relatively. I mean, the anticipation and the excitement of being back in the woods probably was more on your forefront of your mind. But as you're getting to rest, you can't help but feel a soft thrum coming from the stone.
I feel a
itself.
soft thrum. And I'm gonna produce the stone. Oh right, yeah, I remember having it now. I'll take it out.
So before the stone had a soft like presence to it. This becomes more pronounced. Not like a full heartbeat, but definitely a focalized energy, like a ooh, ooh.
Okay, let's go.
And as you are sitting, Gallus, and you see this, there is wind that blows within the trees, but you swear as that ooh, where like almost the trees and leaves begin to, and the plants kind of sway away and sway in, almost like a breath.
Anyone
You
else
kind of-
seeing this? I'm gonna like move it around.
You move it around, and it seems like they all seem like kind of centralized on that.
We know what that did to to those mushrooms, so perhaps we, keep it contained.
Yeah, that I don't want to wake up and find that thing embedded in my chest in the morning.
Hello.
Just fucking dancing
Is
along
anything
with
happening
trees.
to me because I'm basically a living plant?
No,
Okay.
the connection to this stone and the connection that you have and the connection that this stone has are very distinct and very different.
Okay, cool. Well, now let's put it back in my pouch.
There's still that thrum, but now that it's no longer exposed, the trees and plants seem to just go back to their natural state.
Hey, Gallus.
Yes.
Weird question, but does it feel warm or not?
It just thrummed.
Weird.
I'm gonna open up my mouth and just like make the sound of like bugs, like like the sound of like a cicada buzz, sort of like that. Yeah.
All right. You'll settle in for another evening.
I'll stay up and watch because I don't need much sleep. just in case.
You won't need it, but if you need to take another long rest, you're more than welcome to. Unless there's anything you want to do during this long rest,
No.
during your watches. Okay. All right.
No.
The morning comes once again, greeted by the pleasant sounds of the woods, the song of the birds, the chirps, the buzz of insects, and soft movement of the underbrush. A nice, distinct contrast to what you've been experiencing during your travels along the wastelands. A quick reminder of what you're striving for and what you're aiming for, what your goal is eventually to have this continent revitalized to the state of how these woods are. There's a level of it where the woods have their own dangers that lurk within them, but those dangers seem far less fatal than the potential of getting caught in the disasters that lie in the wastelands. Okay. Gathering up your gear once again and loading into the cart, you continue forward before eventually the Verdant Woods open to a familiar sight. The site of the Grove, home to the Bountiful Conclave, the heart of the Verdant Walkers. Welcome. It is a rather impressive site the Verdant Walkers have built and created. The Bountiful Conclave is a 3-tiered town. The ground level is referred to as the tilled earth, built of stone, clay, and earth. This lower level is abuzz with day-to-day activities from tilling, gardening, fishing, trade, and social events. Many members of the Verdant Walkers busy themselves here. This is the true hub of life within the Conclave. Dotted throughout, there are dozens of spring wells, which offer fresh, purified waters to citizens. The tree tier is the bowed branches, which is built in spiral around the trunks of a massive set of 4 trees. These are homes, places of learning, research, experimentation, buildings and pathways built entirely from the very branches and vines of the Verdant Woods' eldest trees. And lastly is the Terrace of the Three. This is upon the canopy. At the highest pinnacle of the conclave, there is the home of the Council, the Three. These are built distinctly into the canopy and acts almost like if you were to imagine it, it's like a large chandelier that sits above the center point of the conclave. So as you look up, you see the canopy, but you can see the distinct lights and the home of where the leaders of the Verdant Walkers reside. As you enter back in, you are greeted with smiles of excitement, expressions of that buzz of the group's return. Again, this is not a large place. There are not thousands upon thousands of people, as you're looking at closer to hundreds. It is a fairly tight-knit group, especially within the Verdant Wood. Also a reminder, not everyone that resides within this conclave is considered a member of the Verdant Walkers. These are people that are here to establish a home, to create commerce, and to create places of residence. It being the hub of the Verdant Walkers does not hurt. Especially people feel more excitable in being protected or feeling more protected because of where they are and where they reside.
So, is it safe to assume that like a couple of these people are similar to the Undertaker, in that they may have been like a lot of the people that aren't actually a part of the Verdant Walkers, maybe they have, been helped by the Verdant Walkers in some way, and then just tried to find a place in the society.
Yeah,
kind of...
that's not too far from it. Yeah, it's a lot of it is individuals that traveled along with the Verdant Walkers or that were willing to walk and aid the Verdant Walkers in a way that wasn't necessarily directly tied to the fundamental foundations. What you can imagine it is the tilled earth, the ground level is, again, where that main hub of commerce is, but not a lot of people have desires and ambitions to go up to the upper tiers. You three have, or you four have been uh, to the tree level. You have been within those compounds to understand, pulled into the Verdant Walkers establishment to couple of things. With Dr. Thomas, this is where you would do and utilize a lot of experimentations, a lot of discussions. First and foremost, an individual that you are directly tied to or that you have distinct ties to, and someone that has a keen interest or that you would know that would have a keen interest in your discovery here is Sir Mintz Varen. He plays as the fungal keeper of spores. He is a myconid. He is the established leader of a colony that actually resides within the under earth. They don't refer to it as the underdark, the under earth of the Varen Wood. You and Mintz had once debated, had an open debate within the ethics of extracting the regenerative enzymes of myconids. You disagree passionately, but you respect each other's intelligence. He would be one that you would know would have a keen, distinct interest in what you have uncovered and you discovered within Goldmere. Oleander, a person that you would know that you would need to re-up your supplies with. Their name is Juniper Thornvale, but she goes by Junie. She acts as cook, fletcher, and huntswoman. She often refers to as Peepaw, but she has shown her own skill at being good at everything but an expert at none. She typically provides you with supplies, goods in the way of tanned hides, herbs, spices, and everyday gear.
And you said she went by Meemaw?
Peepaw. She would call you Peepaw,
Oh, okay.
like Grandpa. She's a young halfling. Yeah. Gallus,
Yeah.
your injury that you have sustained frightens you a bit, more so of the potential residual effects. The person that you know or that you would probably feel strongly urged to speak to for aid or guide or potential understandings on how to fix. Valinre of the Glimmer Birch. She is a wood elf. When upon first meeting you, she viewed you as a sacred being, seeming to understand more about you than you knew about yourself. She offers guidance in the way of arboreal speaking and tendering.
Okay.
She has a way with the trees. And Bud, you share a bit of a your guiding hand of points. She goes by the name of Crescenda Underleaf, but everybody calls her Cress. Granny Cress, if you are of the youth. She assisted in helping you attune and becoming more attuned to the actual foundations and understandings of the way that Felrinthus works, knowing that your magic and your divine oaths are tied to the upkeep of the land itself. She was once a formidable paladin of her own right, but she has long since given up such ways and has become a rather reclusive herbalist to every account. And last but not least, your shepherd. your handler, your strategic coordinator. Her name is Yenadril. Yen apostrophe Adril. Yenadril. She is
YEN
an
apostrophe.
Adril. She is about 150 years old. She is a wood elf. She's female. She keeps her hair in one thick braid of long brown hair that she typically keeps some dried leaves and flowers braided into. She wears layered robes of faded green and deep browns. Typically walks barefoot. Her attitude toward each of you, or kind of her thoughts toward each of you that you've learned is Oleander. She has shown a kindredness and your adaptability on playing different roles and effectively wearing different masks. So she seems, when she speaks on these ways, she seems more of it as a cautionary tale. Dr. Thomas. She's probably one of the only ones that know of your true intentions, of what your desires to find a fix, so to speak. She is skeptical of your mutations, of your alchemical experimentation, but she is no less encouraging. Bud, she stands to you with a bit of firmness, understanding that your more excitable nature lends itself to that of someone she deems capable of learning and understanding. She feels that your bond to the earth is sacred, though yet to mature. Gallus, she respects you as a living expression of the land itself. Understanding that what you carry and what you call yourself harbors a heavy weight on your shoulders. As you are greeted, entering into the city with smiles and people calling you by your name, effectively. Though not everybody knows everybody, but some people are going to know others more so. Oleander, this is definitely your vibe. This is definitely your place. This is where you thrive and thrum within the city, because this is where the trade happens. And mind you, gold and things like that are not of import. A lot of what you will give and receive comes from just a natural understanding of people are going to be willing to give you what you want. Whether they request a trade, a favor, a task, that is up to their discretion. But a lot of the times it is a unilaterally, like, actually it's more like a cycle. Like, they give you something and it's gonna, in the end, it's gonna benefit in the long run.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah.
There's a few
Jack,
smiles.
I got a
Oh,
new
Leander, it's
brew
good to see you.
coming up.
Glad you didn't
I'll
die.
give it to you before we leave again.
Yeah, and like people, smile and of course, and make way as there's a thrum of activity. A lot of this is for the first time. I say for the first time for this campaign. You experience some of the livestock that exist within. There are cows, a handful of cows, not much. Goats and sheep of varying sizes. Chickens that run amok. But yeah, it is a living, thrumming society.
I keep the furthest away from the chickens so they don't eat my bugs.
Okay. And yeah, I would say the chickens actively avoid you too. Just
Perfect.
It's because of your visual presentation.
Yeah.
But people do approach, especially you, Oleander. We can get the cart and the horse set away, and they kind of give it a look over. This is not one of ours.
Well, regardless, she did me proud. I think we could take her on, give her a once over, check the hooves.
Yeah, no, of course, of course.
I mean, also, better look this gift horse in the mouth. You know, just saying. Give it a once over on its health, all that sort of thing. But
Of course.
she did a good job.
And this young female, human female, kind of gives you a nod and begins to steady the horse, and you effectively are allowed to disembark, if you will.
Right, should we all debrief with the Yadril and then go on our ways for the evening?
Yes.
I'll probably be making sure our patient gets settled in.
I'll be speaking to Valenry to see if they know anything about the things that we found. The fucking, you would swear, the fungal growth that I'm holding on to. Maybe this gem because it acted with trees and they can speak to trees. So
Right, but you know, let's see what Yanadril has to say first. She might have some insight.
of course.
All right, do we have everything? We got the patient.
Yeah, the patient is willing, is going to follow. Again, just as Dr. Thomas provides a guiding medical hand, they're going to follow suit. They understand to some degree. There's more so coming to, but you understand that there's a bit of fractured mind that's going on here. They're getting it, but they're not. So you would know that if you're heading to Yenadril, she would be within the bowed branches, the tree level. She has her own office, so to speak. It's less so of an office; it's more of a. Mind you, there's not a lot of space. Her office space is probably like accumulation of her, like a home, but also a bit of where she can gather you in. But then her home is tucked away to the side, like a small living quarters. And you each effectively have your own living quarters if you so choose. I'm not going to dictate that. That's up to your character. That would reside within the bowed branches. As effective members of the Verdant Walkers, you have access to that level. And you would be accommodated and allowed a place to stay there. Not required, but that would be presented to you.
I would say probably Oleander would just have a reserved room in the tavern
Right.
nearby.
Okay. Yeah, it is definitely a tavern style effect. They do allow rooms. There would be rooms and accommodations. Like, the best way to kind of describe it is if you're going to like an outside motel, you know how like the motels have those like the rooms are on the outskirts, and then there's like a courtyard in the center. So effectively how the tavern works is you can go like inside seating or outside seating, and then there would be rooms like around the perimeter. So there would be like
yeah.
2-story different rooms. And yeah, they would probably have one reserved for like you if you effectively utilize the place enough. They would have like
Well, I give them supplies of new, unique booze.
yeah, and they that's what I'm saying. They
It's
probably
not
would,
always the best, but it is unique.
but it is new. Effectively, that's the big thing. It's new.
Yeah.
Here's a full electrum shock.
Yeah. So if y'all are heading up to Yenadril, that's where you would be going. Is that way. And there's effectively a entrance points going up around a spiral staircase that would lead you up to that portion, to that level, going around the trunk of the tree.
Cool.
All right. You make your way to Yenadril's home and effectively her office space of sorts, the accumulation of both, giving it a heavy knock. It's an interesting display, the way that you can kind of visualize it. So these, especially within the bowed branches, these homes are built from the vines. So you're getting more of the effect of like vine cabin is the way to kind of describe it. It's like the vines are interwoven and like twisted around each other to create very close knit walls and structures. So much so that there is a small viewing window, but there is no glass. Everything is kind of open concept. The vines aren't perfectly like pressed together to allow for airflow, for natural airflow. I mean, you don't have AC here. Um, the flooring is actually, it's not made from the vine itself. It's typically imported, or people would lay flooring down and have the vines kind of grow around it to create a more solid, steady surface. Um, but she does have a door that she has had installed, like an actual wooden door. And she does have slats on the window that do close from the inside for a bit of privacy, but the slats are currently open. You could hear the soft hum from inside, like a voice humming. Um, yeah, what would you like to do?
Knock.
The humming ceases for a moment. Come in. I was expecting you.
Opens the door.
Entering in. Like a living area, which has pillows and throws. There is no real furniture. It is all like a loungy type of vibe that she has going on. Very to the ground, as low as you can get. There's a like a coffee table of sorts that sits with a teapot that is set upon it with a few teacups. Those are empty. At the far end, there's a kitchenette style thing, just enough to like where she can heat, if she needs to, heat something up, and a place to set her belongings and things of that nature. She does have a small desk that she is currently sitting at. There's a candle that is, or a lantern that is open, and she is writing something onto parchment. And there is to the left, if you were to go deeper into her house, that's where you imagine her living space. None of you have ever been back there. But she stands with a smile. It's very soft. Come in, everyone. Come. Have a seat. Sit where you like. She takes a moment to give everybody a glance over, a look over.
Awkwardly, like, move my head so the antlers get through the door.
I was in frame there.
But I missed that.
You broke up, Justin.
It's still
Sorry.
frozen.
Yeah, my internet's dying because it's a storm out.
Oh.
Yeah. I said I ducked so my antlers fit through the door.
Yeah, you definitely need to, like, you probably have to keep yourself like
sideways.
lowered. But as you each enter through, she does give you all a once over, and there's a moment where she kind of gives a start at the new person. But she does greet you kindly as the last person enters in. Okay, this is new.
Yes.
A friend?
Unexpected complications on the assignment.
All right, I'll make tea. You can have a seat, and the Undertaker Duet kind of looks to Dr. Thomas for, like, do I do this or not? She just said to have a seat.
Yep.
Okay. He'll gingerly go and like nestle, not on the cushion or anything, just kind of nestle on the hard floor and just kind of pull his legs up. As she begins to prep the tea and you each take your places, we'll go ahead and call it for break.
All right.
Let's jam. Do-do,
Welcome
do-do,
back.
We're recording, yeah.
All right. We are revisiting the group as they have arrived back in Yenidril's homestead / office space. The group has settled. She has prepared tea, introduced them to DeWitt, the Undertaker Gravekeeper. As she gathers these, she kind of looks, what exactly went wrong? Please explain.
Well, Dr. Thomas has got the samples,
And
but
medical expertise to sort of explain it better than any of us would.
Yeah, I can talk about the effects it had on the people, but if y'all want to talk about more of the overarching events that led to it, I can kind of chime in on that part.
right.
I also have stuff tied to it. I have these weird growths that we found and a gem that seems to pulse and make nature get all weird.
Right now, she's just like, okay, start somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay,
This
so
was-
yes, let's start to the arrival of Goldmere. The understanding that you were to investigate a fungal growth of sorts. Did you
Yes.
uncover this?
Oh, yes.
Okay. What was the outcome?
It had taken over the people.
There's a like she's in mid pour and the first time you see her kind of falter as she looks. It splashes just a bit on the table before she corrects, and she looks right at you. And she looks over toward the the person you brought into her home. Care to explain further?
This is patient 0. But, yeah, Thomas.
Yeah. Can you remind me? I think Thomas was working on this guy. But I don't think he successfully managed to remove all of the fungus. Right.
The idea was to bring him because he has it it's deeply embedded.
Yeah, I was more wondering, is there still visible growth on him?
Not
More
on
like-
him because you removed a lot of that. It's the under the skin mycelium that you can see that is
like the fins
It's
that
like-
grow on mushrooms.
yeah,
Ducade Swiss cheese, you know?
kind of a sort of that with some of the where you can see some of the mycelium is still like has the roots.
Just
that are
Right,
growing.
but so it's I removed the surface, but you can still see the
Yeah.
bits that are at skin level.
I'll also
Yes.
take out 2 of the growths that I have to say. They kind of look like this.
Yeah, I assume also Thomas bandaged that while we were traveling, but he'll go over to the guy and be like, "Well, as you can see here," and he'll gently unwrap the bandages so you can just see the just amount of fucked up fungal growth into his brain.
Okay, that's a first. So is he still under the influence? Is he still coherent?
Well, we destroyed the source, and that seemed to kind of cut off the influence, more or less. And now he's just his brain has got some holes in it because fungus moved in and pushed out the bits that were supposed to be there.
Okay. One second. She sets the tea down. Finish pouring it for yourselves, she says to Bud. She goes over to her desk, and she grabs a piece of paper and she flicks it. As she does, you swear you hear the faintest bird whistle that comes off of it as she begins to write quickly. And she takes the paper and she speaks an incantation. As she runs her hands across it, it magically folds into this little piece of an origami bird. She takes it and she flicks it toward the window, and it animates and flutters out of the window. Dr. Thomas, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to call upon Varen to get into some of this. I'm going to have him make sure that his place is readily acceptable. I think we need to get him help.
No, that's why we brought him back.
All right.
I've done all I can. I checked out everyone else in town, and it probably has a doctor notepad where
Yeah.
he kept. So here's the notes on the entire populace of the town. I met them and one at a time in doctor's visits just to check them all out in varying states of fungal infection.
Okay, very astute, very good. Always good to know that you will be clean and concise with your note taking.
I find it curious that there is another plant animating people and sort of controlling them, judging or based upon my upbringing and creation. Just
Yeah.
curious.
Right. Which brings us to our next note. We traced all of the information to the nearby cemetery, which had a growth that we defeated, but then traced further to a sarcophagus. Now, this sarcophagus seemed to have been there quite a while, but recently cracked. There was a kind of embossing, carving scenery on it. Some paladin of sorts with a mace that was a bouquet of roses, and it had an inscription. Said, "She who is made of thorn and beauty lay the first seed that sprouted the woods." We couldn't make heads or tails of it, but this,
And points to the orb stone thing that Gallus has.
was in there.
Okay. Did you uncover what type? Was it a foreign fungal growth? Did you know
It seemed to be a natural growth that had been augmented of sorts. You know, I forget what the name of it's called, but it's attracted to sweet things.
It was very interested in the honey.
sweet caps?
There it is.
Yeah, it was a giant one.
Brought about living dead. That's frightening. Possess people.
Mm-hmm.
Usually the spores are fairly harmless, enough to really just deter you from uncovering them. And you said that it was localized to this cemetery with this object.
They had graves dug up. Yeah.
Hmm.
It seemed to want more hosts. Intelligent.
She picks up the chain of it's like on an amulet. She kind of picks it up, and that is still there. Right. Do you have like a cloth or anything? Maybe we can tuck this into, just in case.
Yeah, give me a second.
And Oleander pulls just a boot. He's got spares.
So drop it into the boot. Okay, since you're all here, we'll just gather up what you've acquired. You said you had samples of the different fungi. Did you gather samples of the sweet cap mutation?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. She'll grab a case and she opens it and she begins to deposit those items. If you use vials, she'll give you empty ones to kind of replace the ones that you used. All right, and she'll set them on her desk and she'll begin to write as the tea is there. She'll take a sip from it.
If you want to
And then-
try some other tea, just Bud's going in their bag. This is the tea we were given when we were there. Bud places the little satchel that they were given on the
Oh.
table.
Lovely. Okay. She sets it down. Did you happen to grab any honey?
No.
It's fine. We'll get back to the normal routine and we'll have honey soon enough. Anyway, okay, Varen should be with us, or should have a representative coming to us anytime soon to grab him. Dr. Thomas, would you want to join with that? You're not required to stay if you don't want to.
Ah, sure, happy to.
Okay. I guess that's about it. Is there anything else that I should know or that we should know here regarding the situation there? Is everybody okay?
Of
Everybody
course.
fine?
Well, there's a little bit of tension with the town's leadership and the people.
Okay. Good to know. Do
There's some blame being levied of the certain people about whether or not they are responsible for everything.
Okay. Right, so we should definitely send down other more diplomatic representatives to deal with that possibility. Okay, did was would there have been reason to why they would cast blame on?
Well, there was that bit about the mayor brought fungus and a dead body into his basement to help spread fungus in the town, but I think that was because he was under the control of the fungus at the time.
And that's where I got these growths, was from the gravekeeper's house.
As far as we
Oh.
made out, the town was more or less just disappointed. But we wanted to get the patient zero out of the mix because, you know, emotions would flare. Influential leader might, point at a scapegoat. So there were multiple reasons we took this undertaker with us.
Hope that the good doctor here and Sir Varen can surmise the affliction and see if there's any resolution to get him back on his feet and back to not this current state. Okay, so yeah, I'll call for diplomatic representatives to make their way over there. Right. Anything else of import or note that I need to be made aware of? If not, then feel free to go about.
All right, I'll meet you guys back at the pub if you want. I'm gonna meet up with my friend and then grab myself a beer.
I think that's all for me. I'm just the question, the thought still lingers in my mind about if there might be a connection between this sort of creation of life and the creation of life at the broken tree.
Yeah, I'll take this gemstone and I'll reach out to. I'll have a word with Calliope. I think this might fit her better. Calliope, I'll give you this now. Calliope, the three leaders of the Verdant Walkers are Calliope, Lachlan, and Artilly. Calliope is an elderly female, appears to be close to her 50s. Lachlan is a young elven male, but his lineage has ties to the elemental plane of water, so he is a water genasi. And Artilly is a massive, much older Goliath woman, though her age does not give way to her size and strength and her capabilities. And the way to kind of think of the counterbalance between them, Calliope is typically the one that is rather steadfast, earnest, resolute in decision making. Lachlan tends to be the more free spirit of the three, and Artilly tends to be the swaying vote, if you will. She tends to take all the information in before making a decision one way or the other. But they work well. Lachlan being the youngest and newest. Lachlan actually replaced one of the previous three. Lachlan was specifically chosen because of his lineage.
Okay. Well, that's all for me. I'll hand over the gem.
Okay, yeah, she'll keep it in the boot and set it on her desk next to the other things.
And the growths too, but I'll tear off a piece of my pants because whatever.
Okay. Oh yeah,
and just
I
wrap them
appreciate
in
that.
that like a little hobo bag and just hand those over.
She'll set it into her bag. Gather all these
they're already
things up.
ripped to shit, so.
Yeah, people are excited. We'll be excited to see you back in the town. So go rest, enjoy yourselves. Thank you for your service. I was quite worried. Worried that it was your first adventure out. So glad to have you back. She stands up.
Good to be back.
Yes, good to
Open
be
the
away
door.
from the acid rain.
Yeah, that was awful.
Okay, bye.
Okay.
I'll leave.
Yeah, she smiles. She actually takes the bag and she drapes it onto your shoulder, Dr. Thomas. I think Sir Varen would want to see these with the growths and all that you've gathered. Take your friend here. You'll probably run into one of his little underlings on your way over there. You just want to head off that way.
All right.
Okay.
Well, bringing a little buddy here with me.
Yeah, he'll just kind of wander with you.
All right, come on, pal. We gotta go get you looked at.
Just kind of shuffles. Everybody else headed out?
Yeah, I'm headed to speak with Villain Ray.
Yep.
Okay.
Oleander's headed over to see if Juniper's home.
Okay. Dr. Thomas, you're headed to Sir Varen's place of research and study. Bud, what are you doing? You doing anything?
Bud's gonna do two things.
Okay.
You said that they had rooms there if they wanted to.
Yeah.
Since that their Bud would have 100% been trying to grow some plants in there while they were gone,
Okay.
just to see how the altitude would affect the growth and the bugs and stuff, and then after that, going to see Granny Chris.
Okay. So you return, going with you, since you're in the same vicinity at the moment. You head over to your room. Again, it's light accommodations, more so meant for like a very small loft style apartment, in the sense that it is an open floor plan, not loft, I'm sorry, studio style apartment, like an open floor plan. Enough, there is like a kitchenette, again, enough to where you could heat something up if needed. A bed, and effectively however you would like it designed or fixed or changed, they can make those accommodations. You return in. Go ahead and roll me a D100.
95.
95. Yeah, there's a moment where there's a little overgrowth on some of the plants. Your bugs and such like that have maintained effectively. I would imagine there's a little bit of an ecosystem happening in your place now. More bugs have gathered just for the sake of it's an unused room in a place high up away. So yeah, there's no major issues that you're uncovering.
They are specifically checking because they wanted to see how, because as everybody should know, their mortal enemies fuck potato bugs. They fucking hate potato bugs.
Right.
And they wanted to see how the growth being up high and trying to plant within the actual more tree itself in the soil to see if getting the nutrients from that and like the altitude, but also in a different area just up there in regular soil to see if potato bugs were more prone to still being attracted to that or not, because they're still trying to figure out a way, because fuck these potato bugs.
I would say from what you can gather, there's a less likelihood of potato bugs being maintaining the altitude's not too terrible, I would say. It's like not too much, but it hasn't really shifted in a positive or negative way. As you can tell, it just seems like they're thriving in the way that they can thrive currently. So so you're not finding any major differences from growing them up here as opposed to if you were on the ground floor. Maybe less of them or less thriving, but it's neither positive or negative in this moment.
They just spend a solid probably 10-15 minutes checking over and individually taking out each potato bug, saying a couple of like prayers, and like individually like squishing each one, making sure and like putting them in a jar.
Gallus didn't like that.
Gallus ain't fucking here. But just like they're just like these fucking and they have a jar that is just full of dead potato bugs.
You keep tucked away.
And like they keep it and they're trying to wait for to get full because they'll still try to use it for fertilizer in the future.
Yeah. I mean, that or fishing. I mean, you are off the lock, so y'all are close to the lock, the
If
Varian
any
Wood lock.
if anybody happens to have a spell or ability that takes them to the ethereal plane, you can just if you see it, you'll just see Bud surrounded by the souls, haunted by the
Just
souls of all these potato
thousands of
bugs.
potato bugs just looping.
If I
Um,
had just a pocket dimension, you bet your ass I'd just be fucking picking and throwing potato bugs in it.
that pocket dimension be infested by potato bugs. I don't know if Justin's internet went out or not. It didn't go out, did it? No, he's still. Maybe his camera just went off. All right. Okay. So, but as you head off toward, so Crescenda actually is also on the ground level. She prefers to be of the earth there, so she doesn't reside in the bowed branches. So you would make your way that way. Juniper for Oleander, she would also reside in the tilled earth. Dr. Thomas, we'll start with you then, since you are the closest one to an individual that would be residing within the bowed branches. You know the way to Sir Mintz Varen's like effectively his study hall or his study area. The reason being is that it's in very close proximity to your your designated area of research, study, and alchemical lab, effectively. Yeah.
I don't know if Speaking of, I don't know if Dr. Thomas has also like a little like studio apartment like everybody else. Would not really use it.
Is it okay?
His would probably actually, I imagine, his studio is like piled and stacked with like books and notes and things, like to the point that you can basically walk in and then look at the piles. Like you cannot go anywhere else. And then he just has a cot set up in the lab, and that's where he sleeps.
Perfect. But as you're making your way to the more research laboratories and things of that nature, the places of learning and such, you are intercepted by a duo of large mushroom-capped, bright spotted sporelings, effectively. These myconids that are no taller than Bud, but have very large, they effectively look like wide-brimmed hats that kind of sit. And they're kind of racing together as they see you approach. They kind of look up, and they give a distinct little bow. Dr. Thomas, Sir Mintz is waiting for you. They speak, or you hear voices, but you quickly know, and everyone would understand that it's not a. They don't actually speak words. They release spores that allow you to speak with them telepathically. They create that spore mind with you. So
he has to take like a breath and get the spores like.
Yeah. So it is a willingness to do so, but you can see they kind of give a little shake, and the spores release to allow for that.
Yeah. Well, consult the expert, right?
Right. And they begin to patter along, the duo, guiding the way, heading toward Sir Mintz's laboratory of his own.
All right, come on, pal, this way.
They'll shuffle along. They kind of stop as you say that, and they give a moment, and they both turn and look at each other, and then look at him. And there's like, they squint for a moment, like a long moment at him before they scurry a little bit faster. Moving your way through the bowed branches, you eventually come upon this room, or this chamber, this area, before the door is open, and it is it's like a greenhouse of mushrooms and myconids. There's there's two spindly myconids that have these like long tree-like limbs that are reaching and grabbing different vials and things like that and mixing together certain things. You see that his main focus, and what you gather that the the request to look into Goldmire probably came from him. More specifically, came from Sir Mintz. But you see a much larger at the very end as you step in, very large, rotund, just stocky, if you will, not stocky, just a thick body, a very small mushroom-capped head that sits almost backwards. It kind of reminds you of like a, gosh, yeah, it's just like a small little brimmed hat that he sits on his head. Very slender face that kind of makes a like a garlic clove shape. It has those like weird bulges. He has these like spindly, the mycelium that grows from his chin creates this like the illusion of like a long beard. It's just like a little long chin strap or a little long chin beard. He has these distinctly bright, glowing purple hues, and he gives a shake. As he does so, the spores release once again, filling the room. And you hear,
Dr. Thomas, it's good to see you.
Good to see you too. Here asking for your expertise.
Of course. Of course. Come.
and he waves you forward.
Yeah, come in and gesture for his buddy to follow.
Okay.
Oh, you have a friend.
And he stops and he gives a turns because he was clearing off a bit of the table before him as he kind of slowly turns.
Oh, that is very interesting.
Uh-huh. Yeah, you could probably tell what's going on here. Come on, buddy. Step on up.
Yeah, the guy will kind of shamble. And the other Myconids kind of give a look and they kind of give a wide berth, if you will. They kind of shift their weight away from him.
This is intriguing. I feel two connections. Oh, yes. Have a seat and lay down.
The guy kind of gives you a look, and he sits up and he lays
No, on your stomach.
and with mighty large hands he just kind of picks up DeWitt's body and kind of flips him over with a
Yes.
and he calls one of the other large spindly one who steps forward, and you see as the fingers are elongated like they're split like needle like. They're very, very precise.
You wish to stay and observe, Dr. Thomas?
Well, yeah, I'm interested from a scientific and medical perspective.
Good.
And you see he kind of settles for a moment and he closes, the eyes kind of close, it kind of the splits close. And you see where there was like a dull bluish color, and the spindly Myconids eyes actually fade to that bright purple. He effectively has transferred his mind, and you watch as the Myconid goes down and the fingers begin to dig and pluck and pull at these, like, the mycelium that has been embedded. He begins to slowly, surgically remove them with a speed that you are perceiving because of just your natural ability to see this, but it is very fast and very precise. And you can see he takes a hold of one and tugs it, and there's an audible, the foot it clenches. And he stops and he slowly begins to like work around it, and you see there's a bit of blood pooled, and he begins to work with
Do you want me to get him
expertise.
something for the pain? Maybe, put him under for a bit?
No. It's fine.
And he'll just continue to pluck and pull.
People feel pain, right?
There's a pause as he pulls at another bit that's caught, and like the shoulder kind of tenses, like flexes a bit.
Is yours your expert opinion to do this, Dr. Thomas?
To spare someone from the excruciating pain of waking surgery? Yes.
We have something we can do.
And he calls forth one of the smaller sporlings, kind of hops up onto one of the tables and gathers up onto one of the shelves and gathers some things and shimmies down and hands this little like ointment jar to you.
You gonna see what it is?
It has an earthy, though it has a very distinct, like minty, like strong, like winter mint. If you were to like describe like a flavor or smell, it gives you just for a real life thing is usually like the smell of like icy hot to some degree.
This is like a topical numbing solution.
It's like
basically.
it's like a topical numbing cream, effectively. Yeah, I'll tell you.
Thomas is just gonna look at this like. Myconids do not have a sense of. Hold on, pause for a second. He's gonna go back to his lab and get some like morphine,
Okay.
or whatever the
Yeah,
equivalent.
effectively some medicinal morphine.
Like
Yeah.
ether, maybe?
Yeah.
Something in that. Yeah, whatever we use to subdue
Yes.
people for surgery. It's
It's
gonna
probably
be like,
essence of ether is like what you're
Yeah.
what you're going for. But you now, so this is the building of this. You now understand that Sir Mintz and his Mycodin thoughts does not that idea of like pain. They do have pain, but it's not probably perceived the same way.
yeah.
So yeah, you go back quickly, and they're all. It's odd because the same way that you left them, they're all kind of standing there waiting in anticipation. Before you bring the essence of ether, and it's in, I would say an inhale, or if you have a version that is injectable, whichever one you feel that. your
Thomas
character
does a lot with the. So actually, no, he'd probably have some that's inhalable because I imagine that Thomas doesn't use it on himself because he does all his own experimenting on himself, and he needs to be awake and alert for that and feeling it. So ironically, for Thomas, he's like, yeah, you realize normal people feel pain and need this stuff during procedure. I don't. Like, if you're ever helping me, I'll be awake. But like this guy, we want him standing still.
We don't. Yeah. Okay. Easy enough to kind of roll. He rolls him over a bit, and you're able to. And you see he is kind of crying a bit, and he's kind of awake, but he hasn't moved much. But he takes a big breath of the.
All right, here you go. Here you go. Take a deep breath.
And
Go to sleep.
Within,
Go to sleep.
Yeah, within no more than like 15 seconds, he's kind of slouched and out. And he pushes him back over. Satisfied, Dr. Thomas?
Proceed.
Right. Get close. This is where we get deep. And he begins to pull. There are still twitches, though not as predominant.
It's
and
less twitches of pain and more twitches of like poking
Yeah.
at his nervous system.
exactly. That's what you're starting to get the sense now. Is that before it was probably a mix of pain and the nervous system. Now it's strictly he's pulling at mycelium that has like embedded itself in portions of the brain, and even so far as like the spinal cord to some degree. Dr. Thomas, I would like you to roll me a medicine check with
Okay.
advantage.
Say with
What
advantage?
is your? I'm sorry.
Did you say with advantage?
With advantage, yeah. What's
Okay.
your You have proficiency in this?
Medicine, yeah.
Okay. You'll roll with expertise, so you'll pretty much double
Okay.
your proficiency.
Okay. Yeah. Also, quick question: is current in the setting? Is there a concept of like penicillin or like antibacterial?
It's all natural. You have to think very herbal based, or at
Okay.
the very least, healing magic.
Okay.
There is
'Cause
divine
I'm-
magic and such like that. Yeah.
Okay. So, but like, because particularly the idea of penicillin being a fungal remedy for diseases.
Right.
If that's a thing known within medicine, that's kind of what Thomas is interested in here.
Sure.
Is wondering if he's bringing it all back to the vampirism.
Yeah.
Is like, could
I
this
need to make
be
a note.
possibly harnessed for the purpose of curing my goddamn vampirism?
I would say there's a certain degree of it. There's an understanding because you have creatures that are made of you have fungal creatures that exist in the world that can communicate and conversate, and you have one that exclusively works to a level of degree that you do, that will challenge your intellect. Like y'all probably, you two within this realm space probably are like the intellectual powerhouses at different portions of what you do. More so in the experimentation and the understanding of like the fungal side of things. And Sir Mintz, you would understand that his role has played effectively in his colony's survival. His colony survived the major destruction. Being fungi being one of the first things to sprout anew or sprout from the decay, because fungi will adapt to all kinds of fucking craziness. So that's effectively why he's utilized, and his understanding and his baseline has been, is that the start? Is that how they've all started, or is there ways that we can utilize fungus to begin the growing process and the purging process of the ash and things like that? So that's what his play has always been. So yeah. So
And in this case,
essentially,
yeah,
the penicillin idea is not too far fetched. You just probably wouldn't call it penicillin,
right?
But yeah, it's I would imagine that there's some degree of utilizing, or the thought process or the thought theory that utilizing a fungus to maybe attack or infiltrate the body to potentially cure this
Assimilate.
tourism.
To cure out it. Yeah, to cure an affliction. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Because in that case, then he's looking at specifically the affliction being excised here, and just kind of like what he's trying to learn and look at it is like, okay, this goes into the body and it makes changes. Could that be like done in harnessed in a way that would be less destructive and could go in and remove vampirism? It's kind of like what that's the lens he's looking at this through right now.
Which is interesting enough, because Sweet Cap, the effect that Sweet Cap would naturally have, like the normal aspects of Sweet Cap, would not play into this. But the fact that it was mutated in some degree, that's probably is more intriguing, is that it has the ability to sit there and you witnessed it. It recreated and effectively reanimated portions of a decomposed body. So you saw the ones that they brought back to life. The mycelium had effectively created muscle and like sinew and stuff like that to allow for grabbing and attacks effectively. So that's not too far from a possibility. These specimens would be the specimens that you would want to experiment with, definitely.
Okay, roll that medicine check. Yes, for plus an addition 2, 24.
Very nice. 24. You will spend the next probably hour to 2 hours pulling the mycelium gently, effectively, and fully. That's not leaving any potential trace bits behind. During this time, are you effectively trying to collect portions for your own?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and roll a persuasion check. I'll give you advantage.
Okay. Oh, persuasion. Not good at that. 14.
14. Not bad. So I'll say by the end of the 2 hours, you would probably get I'll give you 7 doses of the Sweet Cap mycelium. So with whatever experimentations you would like to utilize that with, which play with your heart's content, you have about 7 doses of that. They're willing to give up to you. Okay. While you're doing that, we will shift over to Gallus, who Winray would also. She has a place within the bowed branches, but you would know that she probably, during this time of day, she would not be up there. She would probably be on the ground. She would have effectively a little bit of a reprieve, a place of solitude to some degree, where people can come and show reverence to the woods and show reverence to the very foundation of the Varenwood,
Okay.
Effectively that. So if you can definitely visit her there if you would like.
Yeah, I'll seek them out.
Okay. You do approach. It is a portion that is offset from the main conclave area that is along the lock as well, but it has like a little bit of like an outcropping of land that grows into the lock a bit. That is effectively like a grove of trees that grow up and around it, as well. There's a path that you would follow effectively that is worked or flattened earth and things like that, but there are flanked and filled with a variety of different types of wildflowers and things of that nature. All manner of bugs and insects flitter about and make their home here before you come upon the main opening of this grove. And there are a handful of people who are tending to the actually plants and things like that, that show you a quiet, reserved reverence, but sitting upon a wooden bench, like a stone bench within the center, has a book in hand, this rather ethereal wood elf, though her hair is graying and turning white in different areas. She's old, much older than a lot of others, but she sits and as she sees you approach, she closes the book gently and she uncrosses her legs and smiles. Gallus, it has been some time. Please come have a seat.
Thank you. And yeah, I'll sit next to them.
How are you? How was your mission?
It was interesting, eye-opening. Encountered some sort of fungus that reminded me a little bit of home, the broken tree. Probably not connected, but it was bringing people back to, or taking control of them.
You felt connected some way to this fungus that you do to your tree?
I think so.
Well, I know not much of this fungus that you speak, but to compare it to what you have been born from, I think is unlikely, but the world is an interesting place, we've learned.
Would I know the origins of the broken tree? Justin does because he wrote what it was.
Uh-huh.
But would Gallus have an idea? Because I wonder, because every speaker of the broken tree has the same memories.
Mm-hmm.
So there must have been there must be memories of the very first in there somewhere.
Okay. I'll allow it. Go ahead and roll. Just roll a. I'll let you utilize a history check, but you can use your spellcasting ability. So whatever you pull from your spellcasting from.
So like my spell modifier.
Yeah.
All right. +4 to this. 16.
16. I would say you get fragments. It's not a whole story yet.
Yeah,
and understanding
there's a lot of like memories of other people in there too.
Right. You're sifting through quite some time. It's quite some history that you're trying to sift through.
3 centuries worth.
Yeah. And going so far back as to something that probably wasn't meant to be fully remembered and recalled for the sole sake of what it meant.
Yeah.
But I would say there would be fractions of understanding of your origin, and I'll let you have the reins on what you would like Gallus to be able to recall, if whatever may be that you have tied to this moment, to this memory.
I think just something blooming.
Okay.
like the broken trees there, but there's not much greenery around it.
Right.
Like when it was first grown, there might have been like patches here or there of grass, but not the forest that he
Knows.
sees now or knows.
Yeah.
He'd probably share that.
She listens with an eager intenseness to her.
Outsiders aren't usually permitted where I'm from. Occasionally they are. But
It has been some time since the first were granted audience with your people.
I don't know, I just thought it was curious of another sort of thing from nature giving life in a way. I came from death. It's only natural I would feel a sort of connection, I think.
No, I fully agree to this. It is rather unusual. I feel we've all, and she kind of looks around, and now you see the others who were tending kind of have all shifted their attention to her as she says this before she kind of nods and they go back to what they're doing. There's changes happening. I don't know exactly what, but it's like feeling something far off, knowing it's there but not really knowing what it is.
I'm gonna relay the thing that Oleander mentioned about the seed and the woman, I think is what was said. I didn't write it down.
Right, yeah, the Rose Knight.
Yeah, but I'm gonna relay that and say, like, we uncovered that sort of information where we were.
There is each place that, especially those that are within areas of growth that have seen this rejuvenation, have facilitated a desire to understand, to grasp at knowledge that we do not possess, a reason why all of this came about. Some places create idols. The Rose Knight did exist very long ago, but her presence was during the destruction.
Sorry, I'm the first of the speakers to ever leave, so there's a lot of things that are new to me and I don't quite understand.
It's no judgment. I understand it. That's why I imagine you decided to venture out to learn more, to gather more understanding. This is the best group to work with in that regard. It's rather interesting. You said you found something with her.
Yes?
Do you have it?
We gave it to Yanadrill.
Okay.
Was this sort of gem. Nature seemed to react around it. The trees would sway and move in its presence.
I will. I'm curious of what that could be. I would inquire to see if I can at least inspect it, get an eyes on it. Were you afflicted or persuaded or?
No, I just felt I could sense like a thrumming inside of it, like a woo woo.
Interesting. She kind of pauses for a moment before kind of giving you another glance over. taking you in and your full your look now, and there's a look of concern. Oh, what have you done?
Oh, didn't realize the acid rain would be so detrimental to me. I figured since I came from the Ostra wood, built from the broken tree, that I would be unaffected by the acid rain, but that does not seem to be the case.
It's worrisome. Okay. Come. And she'll kind of
It is the
stand up.
first time I felt pain like this. I don't remember what pain felt like until now.
She kind of shakes her head and she steps over to a place, like a little bit of a clearing of pretty much softly tilled, moved earth, if you will. Have a seat. See what we can do for you.
Sit down.
She'll take a moment and take some of the earth and rub it in her hands, and it becomes like, as she's moving, she casts something that creates like mud effectively in her hands, and she'll slowly, over different portions of your body that are exposed, like that exposed bark, she'll slowly begin to rub the mud across it, and over the next course of about an hour or so, she will be doing this for you.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of that hour, the damage to your body will be healed.
Oh,
Effectively.
so my armor will go back up to 18?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And while she's doing this, she will also she calls for one of her attendants over, and she speaks to them in a low voice, not enough to disturb this ritual of sorts, but before her attendant heads off for the moment, returns back with a grizzled, ancient-looking gnomish woman. The skin is she looks like a shriveled raisin, the coloration.
Perfect.
But the skin is like a deep set brown, and she kind of looks to her. She is the tenders of the ancient within the Verdant Wood. I've requested her to make small adjustments if you're comfortable.
Of course.
Won't hurt one little bit, my dear. You just stay right there.
Of course.
She'll begin to take a little bit of this like pigment, effectively, and she begins to slowly carve with like the tip of her fingernails. She dips it into the pigment, and almost like she's writing, you can feel it dig into the wood, like she's cutting along the bark. There is pain, that not. It's almost like getting a tattoo. Have you ever
he's
gotten a
felt-
tattoo?
No,
Okay.
but Gallus has felt way worse. He was
Okay,
killed by
so
a
it's-
bear, so
That is true. It is effectively like getting a tattoo. And over portions of your body, she effectively carves the same runes that the ancients have on them. So moving forward, your armor is considered magical for the sake of not being damaged.
okay. So even though it's a magical item, it's magical, so it doesn't get damaged. Okay.
Yeah, so it's considered magical to the point of where it will not face. If you face into these issues, they will not be. If you like fall into lava or shit like that,
Oh, yeah.
that might be a different story. But deterring away from the natural element, she's effectively giving you those wards against the acid rain to the point it can still hurt you, but it can't deteriorate your armor.
Okay.
So that's
cool.
that's how. Yeah.
So
it's
reduce
not
my
gonna be
hit
able to-
points instead of killing me
Yes.
by reducing my armor.
yeah.
Okay.
So you could still die from those causes, just it will not burn away at your
Body. Like melt me basically. Ish.
yes.
Okay.
So that will take some time as well.
Cool.
Shifting from you, Gallus, we're gonna go over toward Oh goodness, who do I want to RP right now? Let's go to Junie. Let's go to Juniper. So Oleander, you make your way down. Junie typically is at this point within the tavern. She is the cook, or she's one of the cooks. So that's where effectively you know that you can find her in this moment.
Just palms the front door of the tavern. Judy, what we got tonight?
There's the few patrons that are within. Some people just eating, other people do have a beverage. There is a chorus of Oleander, like it just fills the place, like you are known within this place. The bartender is a rather well built to a certain degree, just probably more top heavy, if you will. Half orc individual, male, who kind of gives a huff, and you hear some clattering from the back room before you see stepping out, pushing past the double swinging doors that she does not need to use, but she does it in a way for dramatic effect. She does duck as they swing, and she jumps forward. People, let's come! What are you doing? And she runs, and jumps and goes for a hug. He's going for the full.
Out his arms, and it's just like.
She just kind of like latches on for a moment before jumping off. She is covered in. She smells heavily of herbs and like onions and garlic, like whatever she's been cooking with.
Ooh, can he guess what she's making based on that?
Sure. Goodness, I didn't think I would have to do this. Roll a. Fuck, I don't even know. I would say like if you're proficient in cooking utensils, I think you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, go to roll like a cooking utensils.
Oh, actually,
check.
No.
Or perception.
No, not.
Yeah,
cooking.
roll a perception bit.
Wait, hold on. Yeah, I am in cooking utensils.
Yeah,
sorry.
do that then. It's your cooking utensils will do it as a wisdom base, and you'll have her proficiency. So.
All right. Cool. We'll just add 2 to this.
No, 10.
10's not bad. It's something hearty. She's utilizing some the onions is like a big thing, so she's probably making something like either like a veggie stew, like a beef veggie stew. You don't smell anything metallic, so you don't smell any meat on her yet, but she may have just not gotten to it yet. But it is a heavy herbal smell to her, very fragrant. She kind of dusts her hands off. Where the hell you been? You...
Oh, well. Would he know if, like, any of this stuff is a secret? Like, that he shouldn't tell anybody? Or is it just, like, yeah, sure.
It's to your own discretion. Like, I mean, they know that you're going out and you're investigating different, like, that's known about, like, what y'all do. Y'all aren't the only group that do this, that go out and seek knowledge and understanding. What you've uncovered and things like that, there's probably a level of it where it's like, maybe keep it a little discreet, like, you know, oh, there's a there's a fungi that can bring back the dead and control people. Probably isn't what you know everybody wants to know. But yeah.
Oh, a bit of a fungal infection, but we got it sorted.
She kind of pulls away from you.
No, not me. Not me.
All right, the usual. You want the usual to drink? Come have a seat at the bar. Come on. And she comes in.
Yeah.
That's one of the seats, and she literally. As she passes the seat, she pulls herself up and just hops over the bar. And you know the bar that she's worked the bar before. At least will deliver food. They actually have like a rung, effectively like a little bit of a shelf that she can use to stand and be like normal height on the bar. And she'll get your usual, whatever that may be.
I imagine Oleander is walking in there and he's got like singe marks from the elementals.
Rain. Oh, that too, yeah.
Like because he got hit by a number of those electrical attacks. So it's like scorch marks on like all of his stuff.
So he's walking in there with like he's got a story to tell.
Yeah, and she is excited to engage in that. Like you could tell that she's waiting for you to get settled. Like she knows your vibe is all right. Let me get a drink in him. Let me get him settled, and then that mouth is gonna get to running. And like she's learned that. So she'll give you a pint of your usual.
We'll start by just taking half of it right immediately.
This is gonna be a good one. Well, people, what is it? What do you have? Come on, share.
Right.
She'll kind of lean on the
So
bar.
we was walking and
And he'll start in with a little bit of the rules. He'll teeter around the edges as he explains the story,
Yeah.
but he'll embellish a number of things associated with his companions.
Right.
Not giving away any of their particular secrets. Like he's not just gonna say, Dr. Thomas is walking on walls and stuff.
right.
But definitely the deftness and survival instincts of everyone, especially in the battle with the fungus.
Oh, she'll be fully enthralled.
But he's adding just enough like embellishments to make them think that like some of the stuff he's saying is probably a lie,
Right. Yeah.
So he's like he's like putting it out there that like enough truth and then enough lies mixed in to make them assume that some of the things that are real aren't actually real.
Yeah. So it's a bit of playing into the exaggeration to where it's like they really can't tell what may be an exaggerated truth or what may not be the most, like it's that blend, and you probably effectively have done it in the past. And she's fully engaged. Like you see that she hangs on those words, though she may scoff and suck her teeth at certain things that you describe or you talk about, but she's fully enthralled, wanting to hear those portions of what happens. And you would know Juniper was born within the Conclave. She was born here. Both of her parents died, passed away, and that's why she effectively have clung on to you probably a little bit more, because you effectively are doing what her parents were doing. So it's the level of excitement to that, but also the worry as you're describing, maybe even describing the lightning methods and things like that you engage, those lightning creatures. As she looks you over, there is a genuine concern to her face that she gingerly will kind of lean over and poke and run her finger along some of the scorch marks on your gear, or even on your skin. Those lightning stars, effectively.
It's like a part where the hairs on his forearm just aren't there anymore.
They're completely gone. Yeah, and she will trace her fingers along it, in that weird childlike wonder, but also definite fear, and worry. Well, you need you need anything fixed up? You need anything worked on, perused?
I'll check the supplies. We went through a bit while we were out. Yeah, just some stuff for our next. Just some food, spices. I think I need a new yeast for a brew.
Okay. Should have plenty enough in stock for you to kind of give you a restock up. I'll take a look at what we have in the back. Now, yeah, should be fine.
That story wasn't for free. You gotta have a story for me. I saw light the other night.
What light? What do you mean? What do you mean?
Mountains to the north. Or northeast. Ish. Well, mostly
There has been
north.
talks about. There's been talks, but no one really knows what's going on. a lot of people, I don't know, people don't have a. I mean, it's just talks right now. I don't really know much else. You
I'll
haven't heard-
take them.
Okay.
More ideas, the better.
Someone thought that we had a second sun spawning. That was quickly debunked. Another was
The Earth's luminescent asshole.
effectively that the stone dark mountains have become volcanic, which is weird because we only know of the Brimshell volcano, which lies pretty much pretty close to the heart of Orinthus. Be odd if that happened. Other people thought it was, I don't know, like the hell's opening. Would that be weird? It's scary.
Sam.
Yeah, that would be scary.
Yeah. That's not really a story that I mean, I could tell you a better one. You know that I have my moments where I like to wander into the woods and like get lost and like do all that.
Tell me.
Sure. She kind of looks around. She gets like a little bit of a look on her face, like a sly look on her face. Not in here, not out here. Come. To the kitchen.
He uncrosses his legs and gets up.
She teeters to the back of the kitchen, like leaves the door open for you. One of the swinging doors. She hops up and she begins to like aggressively take one of the knives and like aggressively like chop at the chopping board just to make noise as she begins to speak. And she's doing it at the side of where the door is to create some kind of buffer sound. As she goes into a low whisper, kind of leaning to you. Look, I didn't really have anybody else to tell. It kind of made me like, what? 1, 2, 3. It kind of made me nervous.
Yeah, we lost Sam.
But
Nope.
I was at like the northern edge of the loch. I was a lot further than I usually go. Anyway, I was swimming, as sometimes I like to do, and I found like a little like cave thing. And when I swam into it, at first I thought that it was like completely underwater, but surfaced a few times and tried a few times to go under, and eventually I came upon a pocket and I swam up and under. There was air. It was stagnant, or somewhat. It was less stagnant than anyway.
He's enraptured. He's just
Yeah.
like thinking, this person is pretty brave.
Yeah.
Like I know I'm swimming, especially cave diving while swimming.
Yeah.
Putty cave.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh God. Anyway, I came upon. Okay, so I surfaced. There was a little bit of land, but it was kind of like slightly sunken. Like there was a little bit of like a structure of sorts. I kind of like listed a bit, and it looked like a stone box of something, like a really big stone box. There was some like carvings on it, sort of, but they were kind of like worn away. Weird. Anyway, I was curious, and it was kind of like, the top of the box was like open a bit, and when I went inside, there was a skeleton there. Yeah, very scary. But I found this, and she pulls from her like around her neck. She pulls up, and it's this
Oleander
tarnished.
takes over the knife work.
Perfect. Yeah, she'll like hand the knife on. It's a slightly tarnished silver like chain, and there's a moment where you recognize that chain. And as she pulls up, there's a similar looking gem, though instead of it being emerald, it's a sapphire, but it is identical and cut in shape.
Oh,
And
just
there's a low
Yeah, he'll hold out a hand.
She'll gingerly take it off, and you can tell the chain is much too large for her. She'll kind of give you a look and set it in your palm, and she'll take the knife and go to the chopper. What do you think it is? Pretty, right?
Yeah, this is a find for sure. Hmm.
Well, when I got it, there was water in the box. This skeleton box or something. It started like water started to like come out of nowhere and just started filling. I had to like swim away. And like I was trying to swim with this, and I almost drowned because it wanted to go down instead of go up. At one point, I like let it go, and then I swam up, and then I swam back down, and yeah, I
Was
could have
heavy,
died. But
or-
I didn't. It was like something was pulling it. It was like something else was like pulling against me, but eventually it let up. Or maybe I'm just that strong. I don't know. She's still chopping. What do you think it is?
Well, you know that thing I mentioned, right? That mushroom thing?
Yeah.
That's pretty gross, right?
Yeah, I figured you were just fibbing a bit. That you were whatever.
Well, and he'll kind of give a scrutiny. He'll fade off and
Uh-huh.
look at her, and he's gonna see if, based on how he's trailing off and looking right at her,
Mm-hmm.
he wants to see if she may have left anything out in her description.
Okay.
Any detail? Like he'll
roll
just
an
kind of like
insight.
look at her and then just kind of go, hmm.
Yeah, roll an insight check. I'll give you
Mm,
advantage.
like
You have grandpa advantage on her right now.
Also, if it is the hell's opening up, you can blame Sam.
Oh, that's good. One of them was a nat
Just
one.
saying.
19.
19. There is definitely something that she's leaving out. There is a portion of the story that she is not telling, and it seems to be focused on the end of the story.
Well. So what happened there at the end there? You dropped it and then swam
was-
back down to get it, or
Yeah, I was swimming. Oh, okay, so I was swimming out, and as I was swimming out, I was trying to swim up. Once I got to like the open part, out of the cavern part, and I knew that I couldn't. I needed air, so I let it go, and it started to sink. And as it sank, I swam up. I took a breath, and then I went back down, and I found it at the bottom, and I grabbed it, and I started swimming up again. It was still fighting me, and so with all my might, I continued to swim, and then it's just like a cork, a pop, and it just continued up.
did you hear anything?
No, I was underwater.
Are you,
You look-
are you, you
Why are
leaving
you looking at
anything
me
out?
like that?
Are you leaving anything out?
No.
Hmm.
What? Her like
Well-
chopping falters a bit as she asks
Yeah.
that.
He'll like. We found an identical, similarly, not identical, but sister of this.
Okay.
My team and I might need you to guide us to the location so that we might look at the stone box you got it from.
You have a way to breathe underwater?
Do you?
No.
Oh, right. You said it filled with water, right?
Uh-huh.
Right. Hmm.
The when you asked if she has a way to breathe underwater and she said no, you knew that she was lying. She's lying about something there.
Yeah.
So I think you know that two of us don't need to breathe.
Right.
That's
yeah.
true, yeah.
He's not gonna have you guys do that by yourselves.
That's the
Well,
fun of
maybe.
it.
Yeah, maybe.
Cool.
Anyway. Right. So. How does he do this without coming off like a dick? Let's see. So, when did you learn how to, breathe water?
I don't know how to breathe water. What do you mean?
Well, call it, old man intuition. He's young. He's a young dwarf. At
Yeah.
100 and
Oh,
at
yeah.
100 and
Much older than her, though.
at 152 years of age, he's kind of a young dwarf.
She kind of hesitates for a moment and gives you a look. I mean, are you gonna let me have it back if I tell you, or
No, you can have it back right now.
so when I found it, I put it on, and the water started to come in, and I panicked, and I went under the water, and I think I went a wrong way or something. And I thought I was gonna die. I thought that was it. And I don't know, something changed, I guess. I don't know. I could breathe water and I could swim really well. But it was only it was like it only happened whenever I was under the water. Like I don't feel like I could breathe water with it. I don't know. I haven't really tested it out since I found it.
He just recently had a stint with some undead. She's like breathing and seems like everything's okay and like didn't actually die and is
Right.
kind
Yeah,
of-
no.
okay.
No, she doesn't. It doesn't seem like she actually died. It just
Right.
from what you can tell, there is some kind of she experienced some kind of change.
Yeah. All right. Well, I've got some friends that might want to give you a checkup, make sure, your event did not leave any lasting, because nearly drowning can have an effect, believe it or not.
You're not when you say a checkup, you're not talking about like Dr. Thomas or the weird mushroom man, are you?
You can
No.
just-
Can't you just trust that I'm being honest? Isn't it?
All right, sure. But if you don't do the checkup, I will need to borrow that necklace
Okay.
just for our own experiments.
Yeah. Okay. I don't like the way
And
that
this-
it's been acting recently.
What do you mean?
I don't know, like the last day or so, it's been making that weird thrumming sound. Feels weird.
Yeah, ours was too.
Oh. Okay. Well. Well. Great. I'll just get your stuff and supplies fixed up for you then. But I have to finish cooking. You want to help?
Yes, I do.
All right. And
We
y'all,
can actually start actually cutting stuff with this thing now.
right, and y'all proceed to cook. And again, it is like a hearty, like beef veggie stew, and she does have some meat that she's preparing. But as y'all begin to cook, we will shift over to Graincrest and Bud. Bud, you Graincrest Graincrest also resides within the Tilled Earth. She does not have a room within the Bowed Branches. She is a bit of an like a recluse to her. She's a self-proclaimed recluse. She lives typically she lives on the outskirts, typically unbothered by others outside of the need of herbs, whether it be medicinal or alchemical or even like spices for like foods. She has her own garden that she manages to maintain. Typically, her garden is an assortment of. Her garden comes in like threefold. It comes from like plants that you would like edible plants, and also she tends to what she refers to as the forsaken plants. Those plants that are typically pulled and weeded. So typically like weeds and things like that. She shows a kinness toward. But
Would Bud know if she has any or does not have any asher wood that they grow? I remember that from the first fucking episode.
Asherwood.
Osterwood.
Osterwood? I was fucking trying to.
Oh, Osterwood. No, she would not have any of that.
Okay.
Not readily available on hand. Those are actually pulled from the trees of the Osterwood forest, and they are very heavily. The export and the cultivation of those is very heavily monitored.
I just have in my notes just Osterwood, good shit for drugs, but it's hella restricted like meth, and I'm like, which
that I don't know the drugs part, but it is like heavily it is heavily monitored. It does the opposite of what drugs do. It purifies.
You said you would go through our notes, Lex, and I fucking started off going, "Hi, Lex, LOL, good luck."
Right, I did say that I was going to do that. I probably
So
read that and was like, I don't know what that means.
My notes are elsewhere for reasons.
Sorry.
But yeah, no worries. You approach her abode, and there are the light singing comes from her home. She is out and about.
Oh God!
But she does notice you, since that you are clad in armor, and probably not the quietest. But she kind of looks over the fence line, and she has like a wide brimmed hat, that floppy hat that she flips up to get out of her face, and she wipes sweat off of her brow, but just causes like a big smear of dirt across it. She gives a kind of friendly smile to you, unlatches the gate and pushes it open. All right, Bud, what can I help you with? Come on.
Good to see you too, Chris. You got a little, And Bud goes to take a more or less clean cloth from their bag and goes to try to wipe the dirt smudge.
She lets you.
There you go.
All right, come on. Have a seat. You've returned. I'm sure you want to tell me all about your adventures and all the fun things that you did, and and your hatred of potato bugs, which will get you slowly accustomed to. She'll move to her door and she'll open it, and it is like a it's like it goes straight. It looks like a really tiny house, but you realize that it's like only meant to be like the top portion, and then her like house goes into the earth. So you step down a few steps, and there are natural lighting as well, but there are some candles or some lanterns and things like that that are lit. She tosses off her gloves and removes her hat, and she has a wiry, little bit of a fro, just like grandma hair. Is just like that hair that's just like super curly, white, slightly thinning in places. before she has a seat, takes a decanter, pours it, clearly water, and sets it down in front of you. Everything good? Are you moving about, making the right decisions, staying on track, trying to fix your affliction toward?
If you mean fix, I'm trying out, to, if I have to deal with fewer potato bugs, then, the problem is solved itself. If there's no potato bugs, then there's no problem.
It's just not how life works. They're going to be there, and they're going to be around you, and you keep a collection of them in your abode up there, so it just seems weird. I mean, you want me to collect? And she grabs like a small jar, and she has about 15 of them that she kind of shakes.
Are they dead or alive?
They're alive.
You just, like, but just, like, narrows
She
their
sets
eyes.
it. She sets it on the table between you two. They're here, alive and well.
Do you know how many potatoes those bugs could destroy? Do you know how much that will mess
once
up
you-
the cycle? And
But it's once you learn the ability to channel through the. I've tried to get you to understand it, to teach you. You just need to focus on the teachings. Once you are able to channel that ability to communicate, then you can speak with them. You could have words with them and understand them, and maybe even guide them to stay away from your crops, or maybe even plant off pseudo potato crops. That's what I do. I have a whole batch of potatoes out there that they run free to. They don't come to mine. You just do. You learn to adapt nature. You don't learn to try to force nature to your will.
But then those poor potatoes have bugs on them, Chris.
Right, but those potatoes are meant for them.
But you don't feel sorry for those potatoes?
Oh, I don't speak to the potatoes.
But the potatoes speak back to you. You see the holes in their
They
leaves.
do not.
You
They
see
do not.
the
They do not
mildew.
speak a word back to me because of the sake of the fact that. Could you imagine if you were talking to plants and you decide to talk to your carrots, and then a day later you eat the carrot that you just spoke to? That would be kind of messy. That would be kind of crazy. You don't do that. You avoid the plants that you will potentially consume. You only talk to the plants that you won't consume.
But anything you could potentially consume, it's part of the. But it's just like sitting there trying to like brain you the thing of just the whole idea, the concept of potato bug actually getting a potato plant. They're just like, you just half shattered their world. But
Look, just
Cress,
as much-
Cress, wait, Cress.
All right.
You want me to take these teachings and take my oath, right? That's the whole thing. And I get it. I know the tenets. You got kindle the light, you have to shelter the light, you preserve the light and be the light. I get it. I know it. I literally am the fucking light. And they take out the lantern of revealing, that is their like special object. I get it. And like they put it back. I just don't understand why some people just take offense to how I hold these tenets. I care about these plants. Men, they lie. They use whatever the fuck they can get the upper hand in, even if it means sacrificing their own at the great cost. Plants, they don't lie. They don't. They tell you what they need. They don't need the fucking potato bugs eating their leaves. You have to listen to them.
We will go all day about it. How the things that you experience on this travel, did you have it? Has it expanded your mind in any way? Did you try to engage with bugs and plants beyond what you know here?
Well, there was this fungal mycelium that we encountered, and I got to say it. I just hope that Dr. Thomas, when they're done with the caretaker that we brought back, that's kind of patient zero, they're more or less all right.
But you're learning to understand. You're learning that that where the place that we reside on is constantly changing and shifting. That's what I want you to know, and you need to grow with it. You need to be willing to change and shift your mindset. Those potato bugs from your past cannot hold the weight of the potato bugs of the future.
A potato bug is a potato bug, Cress.
That is not. That is so far from the actual truth. Look, there's an understanding, and I get it. There's part of the tenets that you will learn and that you will embrace, and I hope that you will learn to embrace the more that you get involved in Corinth. This place is, this place is tarnished in the worst kind of way. The corruption of this place runs very, very deep. We're slowly starting to fix things, but we need people to want that fix, to want that change, and to embrace the aspects of this change. You are so stuck on the potato bugs is just a small thing. This video is just such a small thing.
But the little things matter, Cress. They build up to big things.
Yes, but you need to, as you proceed forward with your tenants and you proceed forward with exploring and embracing, I want you to understand that there will be creatures of this place that are not savory, that you are not going to enjoy or that you are not going to embrace fully. But you cannot hold the same volition that you have to those creatures as you do to potato bugs. I think potato bugs are just a small thing that you are going to make much larger in the end.
I don't know if I. Ugh. And then Bud just like sits back, has a sip of water for a second there, just licks their lips. Gallus and their creatures, they are totally fine. The bugs that live within him, there's harmony there. It is great seeing that there. But these fucking potato bugs, Chris.
Okay, well, she'll grab the jar and she'll set it on the chair, out of sight.
Thank you.
All right, so I think moving forward as your return and before you step back out into whatever mission, whatever goal, whatever is next for you and your group, maybe we have a little bit of another communion, little moment to just recenter ourselves as we have returned. Obviously, the experiment that you were attempting to do, whatever upstairs, also was not working because I smell the potato bug viscera on your body.
Well, there was a couple.
There's
I
no
said
excuse.
some.
There was no excuse to the steps that we were taking. What we were going to do is we were going to step out into the garden and we were going to realign and recenter ourselves once again. Fully embrace that, all right? Before you go out and you venture off once again.
Yes, Chris.
Good. Finish up your water. Every growing plant needs their water.
Are you calling me a plant?
You are growing. You are but a sproutling so far.
Bud's not gonna argue that. And they take a big sip.
Graincrest will lead you out into the garden, and there is a spot that you have grown accustomed to, that she shares with you. It's effectively in the style of a bit of a fairy circle, and it's a almost perfect circle that will accommodate both you and her sitting face to face, crisscross, and she will walk you through a little bit of communing. And as we close the session on that, everybody gets to level up to level 4.
Yay!
So y'all all effectively played into various aspects of your character. That's kind of like the vibe that I want to go for. So as you were leveling up, you're doing things in your class that kind of makes sense for this. So yeah, level up to level 4.
I already know what feat I'm taking. I was gonna take durable. That feat kind of sucks. I was gonna take tough, but that's just meh. And then I think the ritual with the carving those like ancient things into me. I'm gonna take wood elf magic.
Very nice.
Ooh, nice.
4.
Yeah. Okay, y'all gotta roll your HP now.
I'm cursed. I rolled a 2.
Oof.
$36 HP. Nice.
Not what I wanted to do.
Hey, cantrip versatility.
Anybody multi-classing?
No.
Everybody's going okay.
I mean, I'm not, because that's silly.
Classic.
Wood Elf Magic. Where is that one?
You'll go ahead and roll y'all's HP. Get that out of the way. We'll just handle that right now.
And I'm taking Druidcraft as my cantrip.
Nice.
Was a good one.
Makes sense for the Ancients thing, so...
I rolled a 10.
Nice.
Very
Nice.
nice.
I had to click back out of the thing of like D&D Beyond. Roll D10.
Second level spell.
Rolled a 7.
Hell
Feel
yeah.
very good. Feel very good. I think we had really two high rolls, two low
4.
rolls.
Half. It's fine.
Oh yeah, yours is half. Oleander, we love you. But with the HP roll, we will go ahead and call it for this week.
Month.
This month, yeah. Next month is going to be officially starting mission 1. Your first real mission. So, until then, I will see y'all next time.
Bye.